When I first got into running, I did what we are all told to do. I got fitted for proper run shoes, I took it easy to get started, I kept my chest up, looked at the horizon, and tried to let my body figure out a good run stride. But 2 years later, I was still slow, running felt miserable, and I was constantly injured. When I finally decided to take a couple weeks to relearn a correct running stride, everything instantly clicked. My back pain and shin splints went away, running felt good, and I went from a 1:53 half marathon runner to a 1:32. Now, when it comes to our running technique, we could all follow the traditional advice to just run more and let our body figure out a good technique, or we can speed up that learning process, and with some really quick run technique improvements that apply to every runner, no matter if we've run 10 marathons or just to the end of the block and back, we can make huge improvements in just a few weeks. What's up, motivators? My name is Taryn. When ordinary people want to accomplish something extraordinary in endurance sports, they choose our totally free Motive training plans. You're ready to take on that next big challenge? Let's do it. If you've ever heard of the phrase sharpening the saw, you will know that improving how you do something is so much more important than how hard you work at doing something. And this applies to the technique we use when we run. The Sharpen the Saw story talks about how an old woodcutter would spend most of his time sharpening the saw that he used to cut down trees, and he could cut down those trees much faster than a younger woodcutter, but just worked really hard and his cutting was still slow. What happens to new runners is that we're told to just run more and that will fix our technique, but this is like trying to be the young woodcutter who never actually gets good at cutting wood and will always struggle to keep up. Fortunately, our run technique can be sharpened up in just a couple weeks of dedicated running technique work. The first thing we need to fix with our run technique is being a single speed Sam or Sally. Most learn to run training programs just get you to run a little and then walk a little. Then gradually the plans add some time to the run and take time away from the walk. But us age group endurance athletes spend most of our time sitting, walking, lying down, and generally moving pretty slow. So our fast twitch muscle fibers don't really know how to fire when we start learning to run. And if these don't know how to fire, we'll develop a really slow, shuffling kind of run technique. What we do in our Learn to Run training program is a little different to account for this issue. Once per week, our Learn to Run training program has a wind sprint workout that activates the fast twitch muscle fibers so that we can develop a nice springy run technique and we don't hit a ceiling in our training progress. If you are already comfortable running without pain and you haven't ever done any wind sprints or hill sprints, choose one run per week where you run for 5 to 15 seconds flat out. We're talking Usain Bolt kind of speed. Take a full 3 to 4 minutes rest walking or lightly jogging between sprints so that you're ready to give it all on your next sprint. Do this for 4 weeks and your body will all of a sudden be much more comfortable adding on speed when you resume your regular training. The next thing we need to fix is that we can't run through quicksand. Have you ever had a dream where you're running and it feels like no matter how hard you work, you just can't go very fast? It feels like you're running through quicksand and your legs just can't push through the resistance. Well, when we start running as adults, we've had an entire life of building up limitations in our body from day-to-day life. Even if you don't feel it, our hips and chests are tight, our glutes aren't very active, and we're all a little bit hunched over. These limitations mean that we have to use a lot of energy just for the basic running motion. Our body doesn't want to open up because it's really hard to push through those issues, and it's kind of like running in quicksand. Now maybe, just maybe, some of the dedicated runners out there will hear that strength training will help this, so they start doing very typical forms of strength training. Squats, deadlifts, leg presses, leg extensions, and this can all make us stronger while lifting weights, but it can actually make us tighter to stabilize ourselves while lifting those weights, so we get even more limitations when we're running. Instead of traditional strength training, runners should do running and endurance sport specific strength and mobility training that opens up the chest and hips, activates the glutes and core, and makes us stable in awkward positions like running, cycling, and swimming. In just a few weeks, you will notice a big difference. You'll feel that you're more easily able to move through the run stride, and you'll also be strong through every step of the run stride. These first two items will get us to the point that we're not fighting our body to be able to run. Our body will at least be ready to accept a good run training plan. So let's get into how we actually run well with good technique. The single biggest issue I see with almost all new runners is that they get their new running shoes that have these nice big squishy cushioning on the sole, and naturally they start using that cushioning to lessen the impact of each foot strike. But the biggest, squishiest parts of our shoes are the heels, so new runners tend to naturally learn to run landing on their heels. Now, landing on our heels isn't a bad thing at all just in itself, but how most runners learn to do this is by landing on their heel out front of the center of their body. This puts on the brakes and sends all of that impact of every single foot strike all the way up into our body, creating injuries. What runners instead need to learn how to do is to land underneath their body. To learn to do this, stop and perform this drill every 3 minutes of each run you go on for about 4 weeks. You'll start the drill by jumping up and down in place, then start doing butt kicks in place. Then as you're doing these butt kicks, lean forward from the ankles. The first few steps that you take will land directly under your body, and you'll learn the sensation of where you should try to land as you keep running. Do this over and over for a few weeks, and you'll make that perfect landing spot automatic. A lot of the other run technique issues tend to be unique to every single runner. Some runners slouch, others lean back, some cross over with their arms, while others land too wide with their feet. Fortunately, there's a catch-all drill that fixes a lot of the run technique issues all at once. It's increasing your run cadence, the number of steps that you take every single minute. But this can be hard for a lot of runners to do without the drill we're going to share with you. When most people are told to increase their running cadence, they just run faster and their technique stays the same. To increase your run cadence, you actually need to do it on a treadmill. Go on a treadmill and you can use a running watch that displays your cadence in real time, or you can count it manually in your head. Find your normal run cadence, then, without changing the speed of the treadmill, try to run with a cadence that is 7 to 9 strides per minute faster than your normal run cadence. Doing this will almost instantly create a better running technique, and it's actually been found that a slightly faster run cadence can result in being able to run faster while using the same amount of energy. Finally, the last thing that happens to new runners' run technique is that it becomes a vanilla gallop, meaning that our run strides become monotonous and the same with every single foot strike because we all tend to run almost exclusively on pavement. The vanilla gallop results in our run technique being strong in one single range of motion on one single type of terrain. But what happens if we end up going on a side hill, a downhill, an uphill, or we have to move side to side to get around runners in a race, or maybe hop over a curb to get up onto the sidewalk? All of these tiny little extra movements will take a lot out of our legs, which will tire us out really quickly. Our new excellent run technique will fall apart, and we're very likely to get injured. What we recommend all the athletes who use our free training plan app do is they do their weekly long run on trails and gentle hills. Doing this will take the new run technique that we've developed and allow us to do it really well in all different ranges of motion. We'll become much more versatile and stronger in a 360-degree plane. We won't lose our run form quite so easily. Your run technique will be good going up a hill, on a side hill, on a downhill, around people, around barriers, up a curb. You'll become a very resilient runner that is muscularly very durable. Spend just 3 to 4 weeks using these tips and you will start to find that really quickly, running will start to feel a lot easier. You're going to feel much sharper, and as you add in good training, you'll make a huge amount more progress than you did before. You're ready to take on that next big challenge you've always wanted to. So try Motive for free personalized endurance sports training plans with all the methods that we talk about here. All you have to do is put in your information and be willing to show up, ready to do the work every single day. Follow the plan and you will be ready on race day. Finally, click the video on the screen. Once you have a good technique and you're able to run confidently, low heart rate running is the key to a good training plan. But it is really hard for runners to do, so we put together this video which gives you our system to make low heart rate running as easy as possible on yourself. Later, motivators.